What is Form 8886 and when is it required? Have you ever wondered what Form 8886 is and why it matters for your tax filing? This form, officially known as the Reportable Transaction Disclosure Statement, is essential for certain taxpayers. It is used to disclose participation in specific transactions that the Internal Revenue Service considers reportable. These transactions can be complex and may be viewed as potentially abusive or aimed at avoiding taxes. The primary goal of Form 8886 is to provide transparency to the Internal Revenue Service. When you file this form, you detail the nature of the transaction, the parties involved, the expected tax benefits, and the strategies used. This helps the Internal Revenue Service monitor and identify tax avoidance schemes, ensuring that everyone complies with tax laws. So, when is Form 8886 required? If you participate in a reportable transaction during a tax year, you need to file this form. This requirement applies to individuals, partnerships, trusts, estates, and S corporations that file an income tax return or information return for that year. It is also important to note that material advisors, those who organize or promote these transactions, have their own reporting obligations. Now, what happens if you fail to file Form 8886 when required? The penalties can be significant. According to Section 6707A of the Internal Revenue Code, if you do not disclose your participation in a reportable transaction, you may face a penalty equal to 75% of the tax benefit you received from that transaction. That is a hefty price to pay for not filing. When you file your tax return for the year in which the reportable transaction occurred, you must attach Form 8886. Each reportable transaction requires a separate form. If the transaction spans multiple years, you need to file a form for each year you participated. Understanding when Form 8886 is necessary is vital for compliance and managing risks. Tax professionals should be able to identify reportable transactions early on. They can advise clients on their disclosure obligations and ensure timely filing to avoid penalties. This form is a key part of the Internal Revenue Service's efforts to detect and prevent tax shelter abuse by requiring disclosure and allowing the agency to prioritize audits based on reported transactions. In summary, Form 8886 is a mandatory disclosure for taxpayers involved in transactions the Internal Revenue Service considers reportable due to their potential for tax avoidance. It must be filed with your tax return for each year the transaction is active, and failing to do so can lead to substantial penalties.